What's going on, y'all? KMBest here. Today, I will be joined by top 25 Infinite Gamer HuskyPuppies to talk about an incredibly underrated yet very powerful list, Hela. I am joined by HuskyPuppies, top 25 Hela Gamer extraordinaire. You are almost always expecting something wacky out of him. Hela has become sort of his traditional deck. This is his build of it. It's been on the last few of my tier lists. It's called Hate Yourself Hela, but actually it's called Hate Yourself Less Hela. There's another deck build of Hela that actually makes you hate yourself more. So, Husky, as the premier top 25 Hela gamer, how's your mental health holding up?
It's pretty good. I have become very resilient to all the BS that Hela can throw at me. And I've sort of been able to play around that and shift some of the suffering onto my opponents, and I just find that immensely satisfying. I don't know
Right.
what that says about me, but it's a fun deck.
Well, whatever it says about you, it probably also says the same thing about anyone who was interested in this video. So, if you want to go to the casino and play some Hela, this is the guy to learn from. Let's start with just the base level of this deck. Why is Hela good right now?
Hela is good for a couple reasons. One, it can counter Loki surprisingly well.
Okay.
A lot of the big cards have stipulations when they're played, like Giganto, which was a substitution over Magneto. You can really only play him in one lane. You can kind of expect that. Infinite and Death are largely unplayable in the Loki matchup. So really the best thing, the highest power thing they'll get is either Chavez or Black Cat. And Black Cat gets discarded at the end of the turn, so they're not getting that. It also can completely dog walk Cerebro, especially Cerebro 2, with one of my favorite cards in this deck, Silver Samurai. Because when you play Silver Samurai, you either hit their Cerebro or Mystique, or you know that they haven't drawn Cerebro and Mystique and will be far less powerful because of that.
So it seems like it would be good against more than just Cerebro too, right? Like, I mean, I guess Cerebro 3, you run into the Valkyrie issue and maybe the Iron Man issue a little bit more, but yeah, like it seems
You do a
plausible
little
there.
bit.
Uh,
It can out a lot of wins against a lot of different
yeah.
things. Sandman especially has a pretty bad
Oh yeah.
matchup against Ella. So yeah.
So what's your elevator pitch for someone if you're trying to convince someone, say you're trying to convince me that I should play Hela, what's your pitch? What is it that you think that this deck brings to the table that other decks don't? Is it the Loki matchup? Is it just the overwhelming power? Is it the way you can leverage snaps? What is it?
Honestly, I don't think this is a phenomenal deck if you want to play at the very, very top of Infinite. Uh, this is a deck that you're going to have fun with. This
Okay.
will it's not it is not as powerful as Loki, don't get me wrong. But it is really, really fun, and those stakes moment, it's just it is a beautiful feeling. It can be tilting at times, do not get me wrong, but there are some very high highs, and when you get your high roll going, you are basically unstoppable.
So walk me through some of the snap scenarios with this deck. Like give me a couple example hands that you think that you would snap that maybe a player who's first picking up the deck wouldn't.
I see a lot of people uh, tend to snap with Hela when if they're just picking up the deck, when they think they're going to get Hela. I generally like to save my snapping for when I know I have my Hela and I know I can discard a couple of my cards, some big power stuff, without the possibility of hitting Hela. This means if I have a lot of my discard cards out of my deck, uh, so I can cycle stuff into Lockjaw, safely pull out big things, and have Hela stay safe in my hand. Also, Silver Samurai hitting a lot of cards can be a snap condition, namely Darkhawk or Cerebro are the big two ones. Occasionally Iron Man, if you are playing a Living Tribunal deck, can also be a huge hit. And
So
just
Continue. You were going. You were cooking.
Yeah. The problem with this deck is you will not win if you do not draw Hela. You can sometimes cheese out a win, very occasionally, but it's not very good odds. I don't really recommend it. Another great thing with this deck is if you can pull out Chavez from Lockjaw, or even Jubilee if your deck gets shuffled. Chavez will most likely be on the top in that case.
So
if you can pull
that's actually, hold on, that's actually something I wanted to ask about, because you're like, okay, this deck doesn't win unless it gets Hela, but you're running America Chavez. What's
Yes.
the logic there? Is this like a snap equity type thing where it's like, I want to know if I'm going to do this so I can aggressively snap earlier? Or is it just like, I think Lockjaw can help bail me out? Or is it the Jubilee with the Chavez on top type thing? What's the thought process behind running America Chavez in a deck that specifically needs one card and is fine with drawing it on 6?
The thought process with Chavez is a little bit of a weird one. It's just a big card that no longer dies to Shang, which is so amazing. I cannot understate how big it is that two of the larger cards, namely Black Cat and Chavez, are right below that threshold and provide some good synergy with Hela. You really need to draw your discard cards if you want to win this game. I tried teching in a couple of cards, namely Leader, Dr. Doom, even Eliath in there as 6-cost cards that have lower power than Hela. So they would be give some protection from discards from Lady Sif, as well as discards from Silver Samurai.
Yeah.
But I found myself bricking a little bit too often with them, and it just kind of hurts. The other synergy with America Chavez in here is it's really nice to have a guaranteed, at least somewhat decent turn 6 draw when you have Dracula either on board or discarded. Because if you have Dracula discarded, you're going to need to summon it back with Hela. And if you have a small card that you drew on turn 6, Dracula may just hit that. With Chavez, he usually will hit. It's just one more option that is good to hit with Dracula.
So the Dracula stuff, first of all, for those who are unaware, if you discard your Dracula, then Hela him back, he will still go off. You have no worries about that. Like, you can count on that. Dracula being your primary Silver Samurai target is another reason why you have things like Giganto and the Infinite in there, because he's basically like a Giganto or the Infinite that you can Silver Samurai because of the amount of discards that you have access to. So when we talk about this deck, you say you never win without Hela. Is it possible you can win with just like, Dracula stuff, or does that just never actually happen?
You can. I've done it before. I do not recommend trying to go for it.
Yeah. All right.
You can definitely get lucky, especially with some Dracula hits. You can, if you don't hit Hela, this deck is surprisingly good at manipulating your turn 6 hand, so you can discard a big thing like the Infinite. I forgot to mention that Dracula replaces what in traditional lists was White Tiger. This is for a couple reasons. Namely, Dracula is far better into Cosmo lanes, or lanes that like nowhere, where you just can't have on reveals. He also just is a little bit more compact than White Tiger. He's also very scary, which I really enjoy. White Tiger, there's going to be 9 power in total. It'll go somewhere. With Dracula, you don't know how big that is going to be. I don't know how big it's going to be either, but I have a better sense than you do.
Yes.
Dracula also is amazing because with this deck, you're good at discarding things from the right side of your hand. But if you get a 6-cost kind of clog towards the left, you're kind of stuck with them, namely Giganto or Infinite. Dracula sort of helps clear up that problem at the end of the game, so those big cards don't go to waste.
So, let's talk about the Lockjaw then. Because when I played this deck, the biggest struggle that I had was like, I'd put a discard card in Lockjaw and discard the thing I wanted, and then get the other discard card out of Lockjaw, and then discard the thing I didn't want to discard. What
Yep.
makes taking that risk worth it? What makes the risk worth the inclusion here?
So oftentimes you can guarantee safety with Hela. You can either put something in that no matter what I pull out of Lockjaw, my Hela will not be discarded. He's also just a way to get to Hela faster.
Yeah.
As well a potential Hail Mary play on turn 6 to get to that Hela with that one last draw. He's also great at pulling out America Chavez early, something that is big and will stick in your deck and does not die to Chavez, just to put that pressure on a lane. Lockjaw is great because I find with Hela, if you can win one lane without Hela, Hela will most likely win you another lane. There are times when this is not the case. You can turbo low roll. However, that is generally the win plan with this. Either win one lane without Hela, and one lane after playing Hela, or you just have so nutty of a discard hand that you just slam down Hela and you manipulate the board spaces so not everything can go in one lane.
Yeah.
And just sort of win that way.
So that's actually the other thing I wanted to talk about, because this deck is like a small ball Hela deck, right? It's not like it's doing such insane stuff. It's just doing just enough insane stuff that the Hela should win a lane, right? And manipulating those board space on the final turn of the game is actually something that was like, I don't think it was necessarily something I struggled with, because I felt like basically it was like, all right, well, where do I not want something to go? That's where I'm going to put the Hela, right? But like, that's not always true. Do you have any other heuristics that people can look at for where to play the Hela on turn 6? Because like, they're like, when I play this deck, I was like, all right, well, I'll play it in the closed off lane because then they can't Cosmo me, things like that. But it's a little bit different some of the time.
The most important thing in this deck is to not let your Hela get Cosmoed or Eliath. If that happens, they win, you lose, and you will go home and cry.
Okay.
It's that the most important thing when placing Hela, if they have Cosmo or Eliath, either you recognize their deck, something like a Sandman Rampless will oftentimes run Eliath, something like Loki will very oftentimes run Cosmo. Some of them have cut it, but I generally like to play around it.
Yeah.
It is far better to have a suboptimal Hela placement than it is to have Hela resummon nothing. For the Hela placement, I usually like to have it either, assuming they don't have anything to stop my Hela going off, I like to have it boosting up a lane that I think, okay, if one thing goes here, I can win it, or to be the third card in a lane. So only one big card can go there. It'll win that lane, and the rest of the cards will go everywhere else. Because with Hela, no matter how many spaces are left on the board, I'm sure you know this, but some of the viewers might not. It's an equal.
You don't
chance
need to flatter me, dude. I might not know this.
It's an equal chance for the. It goes, all right, I'm going to pick a number 1 through 3.
It's true random. Like it doesn't go like if you have a lane with 3 spaces open and a lane with 1 space open, it's still picking those 50-50. It's not weighting them.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. You can of course manipulate this by having more cards or even a filled lane.
Yeah.
Filling lanes is a little bit scary though, just with the prevalence of Shang-Chi. But if you can get the three cards in a lane, including Hela, or just 3 cards in a lane, very oftentimes a big card will go over there, and the rest of the big cards will go somewhere else and hopefully win you that lane. I say hopefully because you can play this deck completely optimally and just still die.
Yeah.
Sometimes you will. You can also play this deck somewhat suboptimally and just get the absolute god roll and just laugh your way all the way to the 8 cube bank.
So I wanted to talk about some of the, I guess what I would say, nicely built versions of this, right? You have Death to protect your Hela from Lady Sif. You have Dracula to protect your Hela from Silver Samurai. Now, there's not really another card necessarily that's going to protect you from Silver Samurai that you aren't using for other things, but what do you think about discarding Jubilee to Silver Samurai as opposed to saving it for that turn 6 Hail Mary? Where's your thought process on that?
I am pretty fine with that so long as you have Hela in hand.
Right. So let's say you
Jubilee,
don't.
if you don't, I would recommend playing Jubilee usually over Silver Samurai. Jubilee gets another card out of the deck. If you play it on 4, you know, okay, this thing is going to be on board. I have it. And my Hela is far more likely for me to draw it. It also leads you to, okay, if I pull Hela, I can just retreat for 1 rather than later turns.
Yeah.
You know, they could snap. You mentioned a little bit earlier, I wanted to go back to this. This is a smaller Hela build.
Yeah.
The deck's worst matchup is actually the greedier Hela list.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have almost no chance against them. Your main way of disrupting your opponent, which is Silver Samurai, just helps them in the most part. It'll usually discard their Iron Man. I've had it before where you can get insanely lucky and discard their Hela. But in those scenarios, it is just a retreat. You just hope that it's not them. They're pretty rare, I would say, but every so often you do run into them. So I generally like to not snap until I know it's a deck I have a good chance with. And
One of
it's
the
pretty
other
easy to,
Yeah.
yeah.
One of the other like sort of lose conditions that you can have is they get a deck that a location that multiplies their power that doesn't work the
Yeah.
same way for you. Like stuff like
Yeah.
Sinister London will let a deck that normally cannot compete on power with this actually compete on power some of the
Yeah.
time. And because it's so small ball and because it doesn't work for you, you end up in these sort of awkward situations where they can contest your power. Most people don't know that, but like that's definitely something to look out for.
Yeah. You kind of want the game of Marvel Snap to be fairly honest. If
Yeah.
there's big locations where you can kind of cheese out big wins, uh, like even Shuri's Lab can really
Yeah.
hurt. Owning Vats, especially against a destroy deck, you're
Yeah.
not keeping up with. You you want honest, easy locations with some of the best locations for this deck are either draw locations or Sokovia if you get lucky. Most people don't really like to play a card down when you've discarded an extra card and you're playing Hela. But yeah, you got to really watch out. Even Elysium can kind of hurt this deck because other decks can just use those locations to cheat out a lot more stuff. And for as cheese as discarding all your stuff from hand and then summoning it is, this deck is surprisingly honest.
Yeah, like it's meant to go like 1.5x fair decks, right? Like that's what it's really trying to do,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like, okay, here's like the average output of a mid-range deck. We're going 1.5x that, so we should beat all the mid-range decks. We're a mid-range killer. When they get a location that multiplies their power but doesn't multiply yours, they end up being able to compete, and that puts this deck's like whole positioning in the metagame at risk. And I think that's the thing I wanted to dive deep on, which is like the reason why this deck can be positioned well is that specific mid-range killer aspect. But because it's so small ball, when those mid-range decks get like god rolls off of their locations, they can actually compete. And I think that's like a really remarkable thing to pay attention to when you play this deck. It's not like you're playing Hela and you just win for free every time. There's context that really matters to this list and how it fits inside the metagame.
Yeah, you are sacrificing a lot of power for being a lot less vulnerable to disruption, namely Cosmo, Eliath, and heck, even Spider-Man if you're running the Invisible Woman version. can mess you up. A lot less power, but it's a lot less predictable.
Yeah.
And honestly, you don't need that power in a lot of the matchups.
Right. Like that's sort of the whole, like you, that I think that's like what makes this list a little bit exciting to me, which is like, all right, you don't need to win by 50. Winning by 1 is the same thing. And this deck is like, it's optimizing in a different way. It's like, look, we're probably going to win when we do the Hela thing anyway, but what is the safest way to get there? And then you have this,
Exactly.
right? And so like you're like min-maxing for, you know, you're sacrificing the top end power in order to make it actually happen. I think that's really cool. Thank you so much for coming on. You got anything you want to say to the audience?
If you happen to start trying this deck, it's very important. Take a few breathers. You are going to suffer, but hopefully you'll make your opponents suffer more, especially some Lokis. Go mess them up.
Awesome. Thank you, Husky Puppies. We're going to jump from here into some gameplay of me playing this deck when I tried it out with Husky in chat telling me what to do and me telling and just like totally ignoring him. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on here. This has been the second of my series on underrated off-meta decks and the deck builders who build them in High Infinite. Husky Puppies, thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure. Audience, I will see you in the next one. All right. Okay. We got him. Is this hand a snap? Probably not. Oh, Loki? Okay, it actually is this hand a snap. Because if they Loki us, there's no shot that their cards are worth anything. Like a solid 0%er. Get that the fuck out of here. Yep. Enjoy my bullshit. Okay, see, now I want to play the Dracula, but I worry I won't be able to play the Samurai afterwards. It's gonna be fine, chat. It's gonna be fine. What the oh, so they didn't want to throw up their hand. I gotcha. Oh! Thumbs up! We're doing great! Okay, so we're gonna play this Blade. And then we're gonna play the Infinite, or then we're gonna play a Hela. I'm gonna play this Blade. They snapped me. Holy shit. Okay, wait, hold on. Should I put the Blade over here? Interesting situation. Okay, sick. We have discarded Dracula, Black Cat, Infinite, Death. So it's 2012. I mean, even if they run Cosmo, we can just put it in Savage Land, right? So I'm gonna go with a fuck it. We ball. Oh! We ball! Oh, baby. Fuck it, we ball. We ball. Oh. Oh, let's go. Let's go. That wasn't even the proving grounds. They were just like, fuck this. This shit ain't nothing to me, man. I was in the casino when you didn't even play this game. Be what you think it is. It's so incredible. He's like me, where like the way you type is exactly the same as the way you sound. Like a big baby. No. It was really amazing. We straight gassing. cutting straight to the brick. All right, am I like a giant shit poster? Yes. So my first instinct is Lockjaw over here, Dracula over here, so I can make Dracula flow jokes. Oh. Yeah. So we always draw Chavez next turn. Am I like super off base to think I'm just going beast mode with what's in my deck? I feel like I'm just going ape shit here. I feel like I'm just going ape shit here. Also, I don't know if they realize that they turn off their Cerebro. I don't know if they noticed. Maybe Blade Mid? Maybe we were supposed to Blade Mid. Yeah, I don't think they noticed. I don't think they noticed. Top shelf Zaza disrupted my circadian rhythm. Enjoy. Enjoy my cards, dude. I feel like my hand is so fine. I'm cool with this, dude. I'm cool. I'm good. Want me to hop on a Discord call? Oh, do you want to do the deck tech now? I thought you said you wanted to do it tomorrow. I can do the conquest part? No, don't worry about it. This is a real deck, huh? I'm trying to show... I mean, first of all, Husky, what's your rank right now? If I recall, you were like top 25 with this, with all due respect, pile of shit. Like 16? Yeah, see? Unlucky. Oh! Oh, hell yeah. Okay. So, Lady Sif is gone. We got Blade Lizard if we want it. Blade pitches Death. Our discards are Lady Sif Black Cat. I'm fairly comfortable with this. Yeah, it's like Blade mid, Lizard right, or Lizard left. But I think it's this. I'm fine with this, yeah. This works for me. The only cards in the deck are Dracula, Chavez, and Infinite. So, like, our min roll here is the biggest motherfucker of all time. Dislike. Oh, the Sentinel. Forgot about that fucking guy. Alright, so... part of me really wants to just play Giganto on the left. Like, really badly. Because I feel like that would be hysterical. I feel like that would be, like, just the funniest possible thing. But I'm a Hela deck. I didn't come here to not play Hela. Let's be real about this shit. Let's be real about this shit. We're just gonna get lucky. You feel me? Sif, Cat, Death. We got it. It's fine. Let's go. It's Doom, probably. That was what I expected. Do I want to blade now, or do I save that because it blocks Sith? I think I'm not blading. Okay, Husky says don't blade, which is... my instincts were correct. They snap me. I'm still good with this, dog. What could possibly necessitate a turn 2 snap in this situation? What could possibly necessitate a turn 2 snap here? I got an idea, chat. I got a plan. I got a plan. Wait, hold on. Secondary plan is just doing this? And then Giganto later? Wait, hold on. I got an even stupider plan. I've got an even stupider plan. Hold on. Okay, check it. We ready? Why did you play Death? Because I can still play Giganto. We ready for this? Shit. No! No! Oh, fuck, dog. Oh, man. Oh. You know, if they didn't have priority here, this hazmat would fuck them up. If they didn't have priority here, this hazmat would have fucking ended their whole career. We would have fucking shit on them. Oh. Dude who walked in the casino saying, I got a system. I do got a system, though. I got a system. All right? I got a system. I just realized we didn't pull Infi. How come? Pull with what? I'm so confused. And you blade him? Yeah. What card was I going to play that would pull him out of the discarded part? I thought you Ghost Ridered. Are you high? I don't even know why I asked that. He is. But it's not even in the deck. Yeah. Like, that card is not in this deck. It can be a good location. I kind of just want to put Death in the middle. No, they have Luke Cage. The issue is I really don't want to pull Hela off this Jubilee. Like, that's the thing that I'm, like, the most afraid of, is I pull Hela off this fucking Jubilee. It's so scary. Fair enough. Oh my god, they lost the Luke Cage. They're dead! They lost the Luke Cage. We drew the Hela. They're fucking dead as hell, dude. It's over. It's all over now. It's all over now, chat. It's all over. Okay, maybe it's not all over. I don't know. Fuck it. What do I care? I'm gonna do my shit. Let's fucking go. All right. Where are we putting the Hela? Blade, Black Cat, and Death. You think it all goes... Yeah, everything goes left. That's the fear, right? I think Hela goes mid. Giganto left. Okay, it ain't that. I feel like Hela goes mid here. They Luke? They don't Luke. Yeah, just one of these goes mid and we're good, right? Not Blade. Black Cat, that works. All right, we did it. See? You doubted me. You doubted me.